If I had to move to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex all over again, there's only a handful of cities that I personally would seriously consider. Because as you probably know, when you're looking at homes on Zillow, that can only take you so far. There's something to be said about experiencing the area. And unfortunately, sometimes we just don't get that opportunity. We may be relocating into the area and have a select amount of time to look at homes. So in this video, I'll share with you the cities that I would personally consider, and I'm gonna highlight the cities depending on the lifestyle, that have some room for appreciation, that are excellent for families, and everything in between. And if we're just meeting, my name is Jaime Resendez. Welcome to the DFW Homeowner, where you'll find real estate information that no one else is sharing with you. Now, as we jump in, let me share with you a bit of context. I've been familiar with the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex since the 1990s. All 5 of my siblings live here, and I have personally lived in multiple locations throughout the Metroplex. The first place that I moved to was Irving, and fun fact, the second day that I was in Irving, my apartment got broken into. So it didn't take long for me to get out of Irving and head over to Denton, which is where I was working at the time. And while in Denton, I lived in 2 different apartment complexes, one which was actually on a golf course, still to this day, one of my favorite places to live. After about 2 years in Denton, I made that huge leap. I made the leap into home ownership. I purchased my very first home in Carrollton and never looked back. The real estate bug bit me extremely hard, and I continued to purchase real estate after that, which then led me to buy in Arlington, in Crowley, and Mansfield, which I ended up moving into all 3 cities myself. So yes, I've personally lived throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, but on top of that, I've helped countless of clients do the same. And at this point, I can safely say that I've helped clients to move into just about every single city in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So I have a unique perspective on the cities across the Metroplex, all the way from very early in the morning, from 5 a.m. all the way past midnight. So I have a good sense of what these cities are about. So it's with that backdrop that I present to you my top picks based off of certain categories. So let's start off with a category that many of you are going to be interested in, and that's the affordable and on the come up. Following cities are great for first-time homebuyers and budget conscientious movers. And those cities are Forney, Princeton, Crowley, and Saginaw. Forney has explosive growth, has a ton of new construction, which means a ton of incentives for buyers to buy in the city of Forney right now. And it's not that far from downtown Fort Worth, which gives people an affordable option to live closer to work. Now, I went with Princeton because it's still one of the most affordable cities in Collin County. In fact, it's been on the come up for over 10 years at this point and has a ton of room to grow. There's so much construction going on, so much land to build on, and is here to stay. Now let's talk about Crowley, my personal favorite, because I have multiple investment properties here. And while Crowley doesn't have as much demand as those North Dallas cities, Crowley still has a ton of construction going on. It's the closest small town city to downtown Fort Worth that has a ton of appreciation going on right now, which has a lot of similarities to Saginaw, which is north of Fort Worth, has that quiet feel, has solid schools, and there's a ton of construction going on nearby in the Allegiance part of the Metroplex. These cities right now have some of the least expensive real estate prices that I am personally actively investing in. And I invest in these areas not just because they have a low entry point, but because they have such a high upside potential. But at this point, I'll be honest, the secret is out. I've been talking about Crowley on this YouTube channel since, I think it was actually my first video on this YouTube channel. Forney has been such a force. Out of the last 10 clients that we've placed in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, I think 5 of them have ended up in Forney. And Princeton has been hot, really, actually before I was even born. So let me put you on some undiscovered talent. Let's go with the undiscovered and up and coming cities. With the following cities, even if you're local to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, I can almost guarantee you that you're not gonna know where they are. And that's the point. These are undiscovered, these are affordable, and have an incredible upside. And that is Wilmer, Lavon, Ferris, Alvarado, and Venus. Wilmer is right in the middle of an industrial boom south of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and right now is offering some rock bottom prices. And right below that, you have Ferris, again, right on I-45, 30 minutes from downtown Dallas. In fact, there's some new builds in Ferris right now that I am personally gonna go and check out and purchase so I can get into the Ferris real estate game. But let's go a little bit northeast and hit up Lavon. It's got that small town charm with that big city spirit. This place is about to erupt. You can buy a mansion for under $400,000, and that's no exaggeration. But let's hit up the south once again and hit up Alvarado. It's right off of I-35, and I'll be honest, if there wasn't a quick trip right there, I would have no idea that it even existed. But the homes in and around Alvarado right now are just too inexpensive to ignore. Same thing with the lesser known Venus. If you're looking for a new build with 1 acre lots at affordable prices that are gonna soon skyrocket, Venus is your place. Now, I'll be honest, it wasn't until I said 1 acre lots that I was reminded of another city that I absolutely love, and that is Springtown. This one's kind of an in-betweener. This could have been on the come up, or it could be in this category of up and coming. But what I like about Springtown is that you do get those 1 acre lots, plus you get custom builds, not production. So let's just throw it on there because I don't want to deprive you of a city, and I also don't want to rewrite the script. But now for a little bit of fun, let's talk about some nightlife and the social scene. For those of you that love the restaurants, love the bars, love that energy around them, these are the cities for you. We have to go with Addison, and I'm going to give you 3 neighborhoods. I'm going to give you Deep Ellum, Bishop Arts, and Uptown Dallas. Addison is, of course, the restaurant capital of Texas. It has that vibrant nightlife. This is the place that you go to unwind after a stressful week. Deep Ellum, while once it was one of the most dangerous parts of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, let's be real, it has been revived. We're talking live music, bars, the street art, and that young vibrancy. Bishop Arts has the boutique restaurants, has that cool vibe, and has lots of character. This one's going to be more of your social scene. This is the one that you go and visit on a Saturday morning, not necessarily your nightlife. Uptown Dallas, you have fine restaurants, it's super walkable, and you have that young professional scene full of energy. And now that we have our social fix, let's go elite. Let's talk about luxury living. If you're looking for prestige with the custom homes and those exotic cars, the places where the TikTokers are gonna put a microphone in your face and say, "Excuse me,
what do you do for a living?"
These are your cities. It has to be Highland Park, South Lake, Westlake, and Montserrat. Highland Park just feels elite. It has that historic luxury, incredible amenities, incredible schooling, and is so exclusive. Now, since I'm talking about Highland Park, I'm gonna go ahead and loop in University Park and treat them as one. Now, when we're talking about South Lake, this is what we refer to as a destination city. This is a city that you wish in life you end up in. It has elite real estate, elite schools, and an elite network. You're gonna bump into executive and founders of all types of industries when you're walking around in any park. Now, the lesser known lake is Westlake, which is also ultra elite. This zip code at one point was actually among the top zip codes in the entire country. You're gonna find those multi-million-dollar homes that you only see on TV. Now, a community that probably threw you for a loop that you had no idea where I was even talking about is Montserrat. That's actually not a city, it's a neighborhood in Fort Worth. It's gated, super private, super scenic, and super luxury, which is located on a hill overlooking all of Fort Worth. All right, so now let's look at the well-rounded cities that are not up at the luxury price, but are still on the higher budget. These cities are typically gonna have top-tier schools, large real estate, neighborhoods that you can feel comfortable in, and amenities galore. And those cities include Frisco, Flower Mound, and Lucas. Frisco is the it city right now. It's the #1 growth story in Texas. It has incredible schools, incredible shopping, and entertainment. Now, when you're talking about Flower Mound, you're seeing a city that's a little bit more established. This is a city that's used to having incredible parks, schools, restaurants, trails, and access to the outdoor life like the lake. Now, Lucas is probably a city that you probably haven't heard of all that much. It's a smaller city with huge real estate. This kind of blends in some country living with big city amenities. It's in the part of the Metroplex where just about every single home is over 4,000 square feet. Now, those are the well-rounded cities with the higher budget. Let's look at the well-rounded cities that don't command top dollar. These are the types of cities that are going to still offer you that incredible real estate, solid neighborhoods, incredible schools, incredible parks, just a high quality of life. Now, these cities are McKinney, Grapevine, and Mansfield. McKinney has that incredible downtown, a ton of newer construction that was built as McKinney continued to grow, has top tier schools, and lacks absolutely nothing when you're looking for recreation and a little bit of fun. In Grapevine, you can have that lakeside lifestyle. You have access to a premier location that a ton of people travel to, not just to enjoy the city in regular time, but to enjoy the city during the holidays. It's well balanced, it has affordable real estate, great schools. Again, this is that well-rounded category that won't have you breaking the bank. But now let's talk about those cities that are commuter friendly, because if you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, you most likely need to commute. That's very important for you. And as you can imagine, those cities do require a bit of central access, which that means that you're probably looking at Grand Prairie, Irving, Arlington, and Farmers Branch. Grand Prairie has that central location right next to a ton of interstates. You have I-20, I-30, and right next to the George Bush Turnpike. And it's quite affordable, along with giving you great access regardless if you work in Fort Worth or downtown Dallas. Now, when it comes to Irving, you have access to just about every part of the DFW Metroplex. You can reach every corner of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in about 30 to 40 minutes. You have access to downtowns, to business hubs, and of course, central access to the airports. Now, when it comes to Arlington, it's the original commuter city. It's right smack in the middle of downtown Fort Worth and Dallas. It's so vital to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex that this is actually where the Texas Rangers and the Dallas Cowboys actually play. Now, when it comes to Farmers Branch, this is actually a city that doesn't get a lot of shine because most likely you're either zooming past it when you're on I-35 East or 635. But Farmers Branch is one of the most commuter-friendly cities that gives you access to so much of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And here again, like the other three cities that I just featured, has affordable real estate. Now, I know at the beginning of the video, we talked about smaller suburban cities that have a ton of appreciation left to go. And most of that appreciation is going to be captured by you purchasing new construction. But with that being said, those cities that I mentioned at the beginning still have a few years to go. But I want to talk about the cities that are established right now. I want to talk about the cities that are investor friendly, but have nothing to do with new construction. These are cities that have affordable real estate and have a ton of rental demand, mostly because where they happen to sit in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So here I have to give a shout out to Garland, HEB, Carrollton, and Mesquite. In fact, Garland was actually the first original Dallas suburb and still has a lot of opportunities if you're looking to invest because you're always gonna have a strong long-term tenant pool. Now, when it comes to HEB, I lumped all three cities together. These often move in unison. And here, of course, I'm talking about Hearst, Euless, Bedford. This has a great mix of affordability, location, and of course, tenant demand. Now, if we have a little bit more money in our pockets and are looking for a higher price point when it comes to investment, then you do want to look at Carrollton. Carrollton is still centrally located, easy to rent, and has some affordable real estate if you're looking to get into some investments. Now, truth be told, this is actually why I selected Carrollton in the first place whenever I bought my first house. And my calculus when I first bought was very simple. What's the largest home that I could afford to buy at $500,000? Now, keep in mind, this was about 10 years ago, but a lot of things have stayed the same. And the Carrollton home search just continued to present option after option after option. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about prices from 10 years ago. That same $500,000 home is now worth $800,000. Now, if you're looking for that cash flowing rental that's gonna have a ton of tenants lining up to rent from you, then you have to look at Mesquite. And it's just now getting to the point where it's fully built out. Now, the following category is one that I'm not gonna spend a lot of time in because this is one that I can't really add too much to the conversation on. Why? Well, it's because we're talking about the cities with the top rated schools. And that's a topic that I, as a real estate professional, am not able to get into all that much. So what I can say is you need to check out niche.com and also betterschools.org. And the cities that you're probably gonna find in those websites include Plano, Coppell, Allen, and Southlake. Now, again, I can't really talk about those cities when it comes to schools, so I'm just gonna keep it moving because now we need to talk about the cities with that small town feel and that big city growth. These are ideal cities for you if you want some room to breathe, but with a huge upside as the growth continues. So here we're talking about Aubrey, Midlothian, Waxahachie, and Melissa. Aubrey's gonna give you that country vibe with a ton of development going up every single where you look. This is a city that's gonna continue to grow at a blistering pace, which means that you're gonna get all new roads, all new schools, all new amenities, and incredible real estate for the foreseeable future. Now, when you look at Midlothian, you can apply the same formula here. This is a quaint city that is growing rapidly, has great schools, and a ton of new construction. And right down the road, you have Waxahachie, which has a little bit more of a historic vibe. It is going to give you that stereotypical small town feel. This is that Friday nights type of town, where every single Friday night during football season, you're going to be at the stadium. Now, when it comes to that exponential growth, Melissa is absolutely the definition of it. It went from like 20 people in population to 20,000 almost overnight. And since we're here, I might as well throw in Anna, which is right next door, that is having the same exact growth pattern that Melissa is. But now let's look at job growth and economic expansion. These are cities that are attracting some major players, super incredible employers with high paying jobs. So here we have to talk about Plano, Richardson, and Frisco. With Plano, you have massive corporations like Toyota that brought in thousands of high paying jobs. Plano's just one of those cities that continues to overperform in every index, regardless if you're talking about real estate, schools, employment, everything. Now, a dark horse that a lot of people are sleeping on is Richardson. Richardson has done a phenomenal job attracting those established industries, and it's just going to continue to reinvent itself over and over and over again. I know that I just referenced them in the well-rounded category, but here again, when we're talking about job growth and economic expansion, Frisco is the it city. Doesn't matter if you're trying to get into tech, into finance, into whatever industry you're trying to get into, Frisco either has it right now or is about to get a huge player in that space. But now let's have a little bit more fun again and talk about the outdoor lifestyle and a little bit of lake access while we're at it. If you love nature, like going on your trail runs and enjoy your outdoors, being out on the water, these are your cities. You have to check out Rockwall, Grapevine, Little Elm, and Flower Mound. Rockwall has Lake Ray Hubbard, which is going to put you out on the lake so many evenings, into weekends, into summers, into springs, just about all of the time. Now with Grapevine, here again, another repeat, you're talking about an incredible lake lifestyle, a ton of trails, a walkable downtown, and is super family friendly. Now with Little Elm, I was gonna originally replace Little Elm with Louisville, but I thought, no, that's a little bit too obvious. So I gave the nod to Little Elm because it actually has a ton more Lake Louisville access, and in my opinion, way more ways to enjoy the lake altogether. Now, once again, I'm bringing up Flower Mound because of the incredible bike trails, trees, access to the lake, and a ton of green space. Regardless of your lifestyle and what you're looking for in your next home, there is a city, there is a community for you here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So if you're thinking about making the move, our contact information is down below. But more than that, I want to hear from you. What category do you wish I would have included in this video? Or what city did I get wrong or I missed altogether? Let me know in the comment section down below.